Hi, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Listener, listen good. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please. But let's get into this story. First of all, I am glad that this person's face is on front page. And the reason why I'm glad this person's face is on front page is because I am sure that there are other victims out there who are probably carrying what this man is carrying right now. So eventually they will have to come to grips and terms with the reality that they did get involved with this person and they did get what this person is carrying, and they too are now ill. But before I go into this story, let me tell you this. It has been proven that risky sexual encounters or risky behavior, exchange of illicit sex, is at an all-time high in Jamaica. Is one of the countries that are on the list. Meaning there are a bunch of people out there who know that they are HIV positive and they are the ones going out and partying and doing the one-night stands or hooking up with people repeatedly and not disclosing that, hey, I'm HIV positive. You still want some? And these kind of things. But there are also people out there who don't have it yet, but they are so risky, willing to go the distance with a total stranger without knowing anything about their health or medical history. And so the numbers continue to increase. Shout out to the Jamaica Loop News. And you can go to JamaicaLoopNews.com and pick up the rest and all of this story and more stories concerning Jamaica and other things around the Caribbean diaspora. Now, let's get into the story. A Jamaican man who knowingly infected a woman with HIV has now been jailed in the UK. That man's name is Jermaine Scott. Ladies, women in the UK and in Jamaica, if you remember Jermaine Scott and you did give him some, please go and get yourself tested, because I'm sure, absolutely sure, Jermaine probably never told you, mate, that him have the things. You see me? So anyways, Jermaine Scott appeared at Chester Crown Court on Tuesday, where he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Now, I can hear a lot of people in the background saying 3 years? A life that forgetting there. Them should have locked him up in there and throw away the key. Hey, them should have buried him under the prison. 3 years? That's a death sentence you giving somebody, you know. I mean, AIDS ain't like it used to be before HIV and AIDS. Back in the day when we didn't really know what was going on, everybody was scared of it, right? And scared of people who we thought had it. But over time, things have changed. The medications have become more effective with less side effects. And they now have medications that will, lessen all the things that we used to see back when AIDS and HIV first came to the forefront. However, it's still a life filled with taking a whole bunch of medications just to stay alive. And nobody wants that. Well, I shouldn't say nobody wants that, because the people who are still out here throwing their body parts around willy-nilly, they must want it, right? Because it's still out there. Anyhow, the 39-year-old had previously pleaded guilty to a charge of grievous bodily harm. The Cheshire Constabulary said that Scott was diagnosed with HIV from way back in 2005, brethren. 2005, we in 2023. He knew this from 2005. So I want you to do the maths, right? To all them years from 2005 to 2023. And this man been slinging pickle all over the place, probably unprotected, not telling nobody. You know how many girls him probably knocked down and gave this thing? Anyhow, 2005 he found out. He was diagnosed. They have it on record. And he had been prescribed back then with medication to minimize the risk of transmission, of giving it to other people then. He and the victim had previously been in a relationship. That's the victim who he is now in jail for giving it to. Seeing? So there's a lesson here to be learned, because if you infect somebody and you knew, you're creating a criminal offense, or you're doing a criminal offense, which is punishable by time in prison. Apparently it ain't that much. Man give the woman AIDS and didn't tell her, got into a full-blown relationship. You know what he did, right? He went and looked for his long-time thing, and he link up back with his long-time thing and say, yo, let's rekindle this relationship. I miss you, babes. My life can't go on without you. I feel like I did a big mistake when we ended, and I need you back, and I promise I'll make everything right, innit? And he did that. And the relationship was boom, bang, bang, back on again. All this time, this man know that he got AIDS. He was diagnosed in 2005 and put on medication in 2005. And he went and rekindled an old relationship with an old flame all the way in 2009. 4 years after he been on medication and he found out that he was HIV positive, he went and rekindled. Yo, you know what too? This is a good reason, right, to not spin the block. This spin the block, people. For those of you who living under a rock, it means you're going back around again. You're spinning the block. You went around the block already. You're coming back around again. You're about to go repeat. In other words, one of your horny exes call you late at night or text you, hey, what's up? What you doing? And you in your loneliness talk about nothing. What you doing? And they hit you with a line like, I'm just thinking about you. I miss you so much. And one thing lead to another. And the next thing you know, you're back on and back off and back on again. One of them situations there. Anyhow, now when the relationship restarted, according to this, Scott was not taking his tablets regularly, meaning that there was a higher risk of transmission. He also failed to inform the victim of his diagnosis, and he went on to have unprotected sex on a regular basis with the woman, because she now his thing, right? She's now his woman. She's now in a full-blown relationship with him. They rekindled. He didn't tell her when he came back into the relationship that, yo, I'm HIV positive, and I'm on medication for this. The victim said that she became suspicious of his behavior, the way he was moving around and thing. Man was probably hiding all his pills and stuff and tearing off all the words off the pill bottles. Because we live in a world now where you could just easily grab your phone and say, hey, Google, what's this? What's osteomyelitis? And Google is going to say, well, that medication is usually prescribed to individuals who are HIV positive. And then it will be a big argument. Brethren, why you taking HIV meds? You have AIDS? She just say what? He was behaving funny, right? Things wasn't adding up. So in October of 2009, the pair attended a sexual health clinic. She said, come, we have to go to a clinic together. I want to make sure that we both are right, because you're acting weird and I'm starting to feel like something's going on, but I want to be sure. So let's go to the clinic and get cleaned up together. Let me tell you something, right? People who are getting into a relationship now and people who are in a relationship now, which means you are giving your body willingly, consistently to another individual. That's the ultimate trust. Forget when people tell you with their mouth, yo, I love you and I trust you. Nah, that ain't trust. People tell people they love them all the time and then stab out their back with a big knife all the time. Proverbially speaking, I'm just saying. Opening yourself up, inserting your teely-weely into somebody's hole, and then you wind up, and that person opening up themselves to receive you. That's the ultimate trust, because that person right there could be delivering death and destruction to you in a moment where all your guard is down and you're just in there and do all the niceness, don't it? All right. So the best advice I have to give to people, whether it's your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, or common law, every now and then, I would say about at least once a year, but maybe twice, go to a clinic together or go see the doctor together and get a proper full blood work done. And then make sure that both of you are aware of each other's results. You understand? That way, nobody can hide nothing from nobody. Anyways, while at the clinic though, after she said, come on, we're going to the clinic together. While at the clinic, Scott provided a false name and a false medical detail to the health workers. This is what the Cheshire Constabulary said. The police department went back and looked up the paperwork, and they understand now why the lady who he was with, who he eventually infected and hid his diagnosis from, why she didn't find out after they went to the clinic. Because while he was filling out, you know, when you go to the clinic, right? You have to fill out this paper. So while he was filling out the paper, put your name in, put your address in, put your this in, your that in. Have you ever been here before? Yes or no? Have you ever been sick with any of these things? Glaucoma, heart attack, this, that, and the other. He was over there filling out the wrong information on the paper, but she didn't check. All she knew is that babes love me, and he went with me to the clinic, and we both were getting tested. She never checked the paper to see that this man was sitting over there putting all the wrong information on the paper. Boy, you can't trust nobody nowadays, you know. A long time you can't trust people still. So he provided a false name, false medical details to the health workers, according to the police. The victim subsequently tested positive for HIV that time. And then the pair ended their relationship. Following their split, he left Cheshire area and went to live somewhere else. So he probably over there cussing her, you know, and like, yo, girl, you have AIDS. Your paperwork come back say you have AIDS. Me not have no AIDS. So me I break up with you. See, before me catch it. Yeah, wicked girl, you know, you probably know say you have it. And who you give it something to? Probably some dirty body man. You probably know say you have it, my girl. And I try give it to me. All along, he was the one that gave it to her. Wickedness. So the incident was reported to Cheshire Constabulary in October of 2009. I can't wait for all my British people to tell me that Cheshire is not how I'm saying it. SouFlo, that's not how you say it. Please bear with the accent still. Anyways, the incident was reported to the Cheshire Constabulary in October of 2009, and an investigation was launched to locate Scott, the man, the AIDS giver. Now, following the public appeal, he was located and he was arrested in February of 2011. But hear what? The story get deeper, my friend. This story get even deeper. See? So them never find him. Remember, I know. He was diagnosed in 2005 and placed on medication. He spun the block or spun the block and rekindled that old relationship with one of his old weak flames. You know, she weak to him. You know, some people you're weak to them. Like, that's why you have to like lock them off completely, because if they come around and bat their eyes 2 times, they might just get you to do what them want you to do again, type thing. So he didn't rekindle that relationship with her till 2009. So he already knew for 4 years. He was clinically diagnosed and placed on medication. 4 years before he rekindled that relationship. 2009 is when time him and she hook up. And the same 2009, she said, he moving funny. Brethren, y'all move funny. Let's go to the clinic. They went to the clinic. She come back positive. Like the man his HIV was burning because him lick her with it same time. They rekindled in 2009 and she catch it in 2009. Now check it. 2011 is when time, remember, I know they broke up, and then boom, the police are looking for him, and following a public appeal, he was located and arrested in 2011. That's 2 years later. See? Now, according to the police, he refused to answer any questions that was put to him by officers, and despite a detailed investigation, the man said, "Me not talk to no police. Zane, so me not have nothing to say to uno." So the officers were unable to gather sufficient evidence to charge him in relation to the incident, and the case was closed. So she over there mad as hell because she like, this bumblehole, this man give me this thing and now he can't get prosecuted for it because just because he don't want to talk to police, they can't put a case together. So he's walking free because they're throwing out my case. Well, hear this now. He was then subsequently deported from the UK to Jamaica in 2011 after it was found out that, guess what? The man in the UK illegally, fam. So him in the UK illegally. My boy probably reached UK, right? Because you know I'm not being I'm not even trying to be funny or nothing, but them white girl in the UK, you see one time your skin have enough melanin in it and your hair well 4C up on these kind of things. Them don't want no curly hair on them something there. Them don't want you look like you mixed race or nothing. Them want you the black girl them get the mixed race boy them cause that them run after and the white boy them. You see the white woman them want you black and them want you Jamaican. And you see when you're black and you're Jamaican, me bumbo, them fling it by you, you know. Alright, so my boy I must reach in heaven's land of milk and honey when him reach UK Extradited and just start clot up everything and eventually got AIDS. Yeah, because that's what happens when you start sling woody all over the place and no protection and careless and all these things. So, well, 2011, them catch him, deport him to Jamaica after they found out he was in the UK illegally. But he left this woman in the UK that he gave AIDS. So shortly after his deportation to Jamaica now, the victim asked for the case to be reopened. And the detectives in the UK subsequently sought help from a number of medical experts who revealed that it was highly likely that the victim had been infected with HIV in the 3 months before her diagnosis. Because they was frigging around for about 3 months, right? Before she said, yo, you moving funny, something going on, let's go get tested. Now, while she was in a relationship with Scott is when they're talking about. So the experts have timed it and said, yep, it's about right around then. Cheshire Constabulary said that they also identified a number of genetic links between the strain of HIV that the victim has been diagnosed with and that the offender carries. I'm learning something new. People can't just give AIDS and give AIDS no more. If them catch the person that gave it to you, they can actually tell. This is how advanced science has become. They can actually tell. No. So now, you know, you have some cheating man out there where carry AIDS. By the way, that's how a lot of sisters in the African American or the black community globally actually become HIV positive. You know, she's with her husband. She is being a good woman, taking care of the family and these things. Brother is either living a down low life. You know, I'm going to go check the brethren them and we're going to play cards and stuff while he's over there ramming out man. And, you know, he's living a double life and thing. And he eventually, or he's living a down low life as it's called. Or he's wild out in the streets. Probably has a thing for hookers and strippers. And then he brings wifey, because wifey has her, she's open. They don't use condoms and all that. She's on her birth control. Probably something placed in her arm or something. Anyhow, she opens herself up to him and her husband gives her AIDS, right? Now, it can be vice versa too. It can be your cheating wife who just love whole heap of body and she catch it and she can't come give you and you don't know. Poor good husband paying all the bills, working his ass off while she is servicing the mailman and the letterbox man and servicing the mechanic and servicing the food delivery guy and the Uber guy and this guy and that guy, and gave it to him. So now they actually can narrow it down. If you say, nah, Charlene, you give it to me, they can test and say, no, sir, she has a different strain than what you have. The two of them have AIDS. But the two of them have two different strains because two of them was cheating, so they catch it from two different places. Or they can say, well, your health record was clean because you got your normal checkups until January 1st of 2023. After that, your husband got it and we saw it from last year, June, or he didn't tell you, and now you have the same strain. It's just a long breakdown when we just do, right? So anyways, in 2019, the additional evidence was presented to the CPS, who agreed to charge Scott with grievous bodily harm, Section 20 assault, in February of 2020. So what they did was an extradition warrant was issued to Jamaica, and he was returned from Jamaica to the UK in November of 2022 to face charges in connection with the incident. Whoa. You think England a player? You think the Queen plays a player? Them send back female and say, yo, bring back the deported, they come serve some time back over here. I know he probably was happy when he heard, yo, I'm heading back to the UK. I'm done with that place here. Wait, there, what you say? Prison me I go? Blood fire. Anyway, following the sentencing, Detective Sergeant Emma Myers, who led the investigation, said that it has been more than 12 years to reach this point. And having supported the victim throughout the investigation, I've seen firsthand the pain and suffering that she has endured, both physically and psychologically. Cause them something that frig up your brain, you know. You don't know if you're gonna dead tomorrow. Every little cough you get, you don't know if this is your last. Because coughing can turn to cold, then turn to pneumonia, then just kill you rotted when you have AIDS and HIV. Anyhow, she will now live the rest of her life forever scarred and marred by the actions of this one man who decided to spin the block and bring her back some love with some extra something in it what she never did want. Here's the thing. At 2022, seeing them extradite him back to Jamaica. He been in Jamaica. Hear me out, you know. Jamaica, you hear me out. Cause no for no girl down there, no love fling out crotches, especially when you hear that British accent. You first don't know that he's a deportee. So you think, oh shit, I might be able to get some papers, or maybe have some English pounds pan him and all these things. Yeah, somehow did fling out to him. The man at Jamaica from 2011. He wasn't extradited back to England until 2022. Is a man that is proven to fling body everywhere and con people and not tell them about his diagnosis and freely give AIDS and go on about his business. What does that tell me? That tells me that there are victims in Jamaica right now who sees his picture and them want to vomit. Them sick because they know that they had times with him, and probably, I know you got to understand also, so he's deported, right? Did anybody check when he was coming back in? Remember when we talked about this before? Remember when I talked about there should be a checkpoint set up for individuals who are being deported from other countries back into Jamaica? You can't just fling back everybody in. So we need to know who are come back with HIV, AIDS, hepatitis, this, that, and the other, gonorrhea, syphilis, every friggin' thing that's out there. We need to know. We need to know who was locked up in somebody's institution and was placed on medication to keep them sane throughout the time. Who is on psychotic medication? Who in here mad and crazy? Because here's the thing. Once these people are deported, there is no regular supply of all the drugs that they need to get by. You understand? So more than likely, things become different where they're off these drugs that would sustain them. Like him, for example, he would be off the drug that would minimize the ability for him to transfer this thing to somebody else. So him there Jamaica from 2011. England never called back for him till 2022. You can only imagine how many people get clapped up and clap there and I just told you, I just read the report. It's a government site that says South Africa is leading the list. Jamaica is on the list too, as one of the countries that globally that is still very much people with HIV are frivolous in their activities and are not reporting to others that they have this thing. Still partying and unprotected sex and, hook up and one night stand and give me peace no and all these things. Good luck to Ono. Now, it has been more than 12 years, she said, and I can imagine the woman just go crazy seeing. She will now have to live with all this. Now, while no sentence will ever be enough, the constable says, I do hope that the fact that he is now behind bars and has been held accountable will provide her with some kind of closure. You hear me, no, man? So, shout out to the Loop for that story, I know. Raymond Thomas said, she lucky to be alive. In the UK, no one dies from AIDS anymore. They can't cure it, but they get drugs to keep them alive. This fellow wasn't taking the medicine, and that's why he was able to pass it on to her. Yes, Brighthead, we know that. The next person says he should get life in prison, which 3 years. Kiss me teeth, and I agree. And the next person says he didn't use a gun or a knife, but he took her life. He should have been given life in exchange. That would have been justice. Anyhow, leave a comments in the comment section, please. Look at his picture good, please. Circulate this video, please. If for anything else is so as many people as possible in Jamaica could have a look at his picture. Remember, he's been in Jamaica since 2011 when he was deported from the UK. In the UK, he was found out from 2005 that he had AIDS, or he was HIV positive and put on medication. It wasn't until 2011 that the UK deported him to Jamaica, and it wasn't until 2022 that he was extradited from Jamaica back to the UK. So do the maths. From 2011 to 2022, a big old space of 11, 12 years, one whole decade gone. So you can only imagine. I'll catch up with y'all later. Public service announcement. Spread it, please. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.